I wanted to do a quick video to those who have had spiritual or mystical experiences. I believe there's quite a few out there, and I think from what I've learned just from speaking with certain people is that a lot of people keep those experiences inside of them, or they will still go back and forth in conforming because they're still trying to process those experiences, and there's people around them that don't understand them. And so this video, I hope, reaches those who have had those experiences. And I want you to know that you're not crazy. And part of the journey is you learning to lean in to trusting what you've been shown. And it is very real. And if you ever have doubts, you can look up quantum physics or just physics in general. There's a lot of truth to how all of that operates in the world. And I think as you seek answers to find similar people who have gone through similar experiences, you'll notice there are actually books out there of people who have gone through certain experiences that are similar to your own. So as I have gone through my own journey, there were moments where there was no one in my life, it felt like, that could actually speak with me about the things that I had experienced, but I was shown different texts and books of people in previous lines of history that had gone through similar things, which allowed me to not feel alone and continue to build my faith in alignment with my spirit, which basically helped me get through. There's always a phase of integration that must happen when you adapt to a new timeline, and it can feel very disorienting, and sometimes psychosis can happen, or just like a brief period of it. And so just learning to lean into it and surrendering to it, and not analyzing it, and just feeling through it will get you through that period of time. And you have to have grace with yourself, because you have to recognize that you are literally changing your reality and what you've known, and it is very, very real. So as you are shown more and more truths, you will get to a point where there will be people who will mirror back to you your truth. So for me, I was pushed and prepared to start to speak truth to a much more public audience, and I'm basically being prepared to be receptive to different feedback, and learning to hold my frequency regardless of the feedback I get from sharing my truth, and recognizing that just sharing my truth because it feels like the right thing to do is enough, without any expectation of what I will get in return. And just the messages that I've gotten of people just being so positive and resonating with me, like even just resonating with one person makes a massive difference for me. And I feel like I'm finally starting to draw people in that have gone through experiences similar to mine, or versions of what I've gone through, that help validate what I'm experiencing in the world. And I'm a big believer that we're only shown enough that we can handle in the moment. And so we must accept that as we transition to a new timeline. Another thing, I spoke to someone recently, and he made it very clear to me, everything is physics. And he's right. Like, at the baseline of everything is all mathematical equations. And I'm a big believer that anything that can exist already does exist. And it's not a matter of creating new realities. It's a matter of remembering that reality exists, and then basically abstaining or adjusting your actions and thoughts to align with the higher reality. And sometimes you don't always fully know what the new reality will completely look like, but you will be guided to let go of things to prepare you for that new reality to exist. And then over time, you will be nudged to action things in accordance that will get you to that new state. So you just have to surrender to the process. We're all going to the same destination, and we all have destinations that I believe are already kind of laid out for us. I think it's just more of a matter of how much are you going to kick and scream to be pushed into a higher alignment with your soul, and how much are you going to just surrender through the process and trust that you are always held by God and love is all around you, and the battle that you create is unnecessary, and it's unnecessary, the mental battle with the ego. And when you start to get stronger and observe the kicking and screaming that the ego does, really trying to grasp, like, why is my ego resisting when I know that the timeline that's coming for me is everything that I've wanted, if not more than I can even imagine, you start to reflect. And I think that is where the grieving can come in, and it can get really heavy. Is you're not grieving the life that you've been living, that you leave behind. You're grieving the fact that you even were living this life in the first place, and you're grieving the fact that you could even conform, or even chose to conform at one point in your life, to a society or to a way of living that was so opposite of what your soul really operates at from a higher timeline. So just have grace with yourself, and I really feel called to just keep encouraging people to speak their truth, to express themselves. I'm still learning what that means for me. I started like a poetry page, and I just felt like I have to do it because I process so much emotion and I have to get it out. And so it's writing is a way that I've been told that when I'm holding on to too much energy, I need to just write and post, and that immediately lets the energy out from a channel standpoint, and then it's out of me. So if you've suppressed your creative abilities, I would encourage you to try to figure out what those are, and then don't judge yourself. I think we have a tendency to judge our output from creative expression, and I want y'all to know that when you're a very sensitive, intuitive being, you have access to parts of the soul of the human collective that not everyone has access to. And I think it's really important that you share that with the world and allow other people to experience the soul through you. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. And I think that society is actually meant to receive abundance based off sharing their version of the soul. And I think all of us have different forms of expression of what the soul is to us, and I think all forms are beautiful. So I just hope we get to see more of that in the world, and people begin to remember who they are.